President Biden is moving forward with his scheduled trip to Syracuse, New York, despite scrutiny coming from local law enforcement. Here's One America's chief White House correspondent, Monica Page.
The president opted not to delay his Thursday trip to Syracuse, despite facing criticism and pushback from local police officers and New York officials. This week, officers are mourning the loss of Syracuse police officer Michael Jensen and Onondaga County Lieutenant Sheriff's Deputy Michael Husak, both killed in the line of duty on April 14th during a shootout. Due to the sole fact that officers are still grieving this loss, local law enforcement expressed worry to the White House over the timing of Biden's trip. I want to bring in the president of the Syracuse Police Benevolent Association, Joe Moran, representing the city's officers. Joe, first off, thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us, and our hearts go out to the friends and family of both Officer Jensen and Lieutenant Deputy Husak. So just to start out here, walk us through the mood on the ground right now, and how did the conversation with the White House play out ahead of this trip?
Obviously, at this time, our members are still emotionally distraught, Monica. It's going to take a significant period of time for us to recover from this. You may not be aware of this or not, but we had a 12-hour standoff that was activated during that event. A number of our members had to rush out and address a 12-hour standoff with a robbery suspect, only to transition into Lieutenant Husak's funeral on Monday. The past week and a half, we have not been able to catch our breath. People working tirelessly around the clock, and then to be notified that the president anticipated arriving in Syracuse to discuss the CHIPS Act and federal grants and funding. And what I find most concerning is, to me, speaking on behalf of the officers of the Syracuse Police Department, it appears to me that President Biden's team, their priorities are distorted and skewed. The question that should have been asked to the Syracuse Police Department was, you must be going through so much right now. We can't imagine how your members are grieving during this time. When would be a better opportunity for us to respond and make this big announcement? But now is not the time. Unfortunately, that wasn't the message that we received. Our chief of police, Chief Cecil, who I expressed concerns to on behalf of the membership, now is not the time for this. We're still trying to recover from this terrible tragedy.
Right. I mean, you just laid out perfectly. I mean, just the range of emotions that you guys are feeling on the ground there, and the fact that the president is moving forward with these plans and with this trip. I mean, what kind of message does that send to you, your union, and really to our law enforcement in general?
Well, the message is clear. Federal grants, the CHIPS Act, supersedes the death of these two police officers. His visit is more important than the men and women of the Syracuse Police Department and all the other surrounding agencies that have to provide security and service for President Biden. I don't know if his team is truly aware of the massive undertaking that this requires, even from local law enforcement personnel.
And Joe, New York officials like Congressman Brandon Williams, Elise Stefanik, and Claudia Tenney, they've all come out and called Biden's decision to continue this trip as cruel and tone deaf. Now, we know this isn't the first time the president has held a campaign event at the same time a city is mourning the loss of an officer. Just a month ago, I'm sure you remember, the president barely acknowledged the tragic killing of NYPD officer Jonathan Diller. Do you expect the president to express his sorrow or give his condolences? Or rather, what is your message to the president upon his arrival?
I'm assuming he'll do just that if he hasn't already. I'm hopeful that he reached out to the family members involved, and if he hasn't, that he plans on doing so. But I think the point of emphasis that needs to be made here, Monica, is the impact that this is having of the cops of the Syracuse Police Department, the active PBA membership, the very union workers of the PBA. This has been the most difficult time imaginable for our troops, maybe ever. And for us to have to navigate through this presidential visit right now, after we just got done burying these two hero police officers, I'm truly perplexed of the decision-making of the Biden team. I'm assuming they had internal conversations about this. I mean, did they not? I don't know. I'm perplexed and confused.
We do thank our police officers for serving their communities. And Joe, we thank you, Joe Moran, president of the Syracuse Police Benevolent Association. Thank you for being with us and with our network. And of course, our hearts and our condolences go out to those officers and Lieutenant Sheriff's Deputy as well. Thank you again for joining us.
Appreciate it, Monica. Thank you.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.